Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone in the various caddy groups, forums, people in YouTube, blah blah blah, etc. Welcome to the probably infamous 3-year camper van build, but like most things, they don't always go right. So the reason why I'm making today's video is because I've picked up on a couple of forums actually, and on the YouTube channel, somebody said, I'm having a problem with this radiator, and obviously because this vehicle has been apart for so long, when you come to put them back together again, you realise things don't always go according to plan and things are missing. So this one is basically my first caddy had a radiator which held on with cable ties, and it was very worrying because it used to wibble around and all the rest of it. But the point being is, in over 100,000 miles of using that vehicle, but amazingly the radiator didn't collapse or anything, it didn't even leak. But I am aware that there are leaking problems sometimes. So the first part is this bracket, which if you look at it is an integral part of the radiator, and it's only really sort of clipped onto this bottom vane here, and it really is susceptible to rust. And what seems to happen is if I just go here, if you look at this bottom vane, eventually what happens is that breaks away and then this flaps around like that. So that's one problem that I'm aware of, because I've seen at least 2 or 3 radiators rather doing that. Now the next thing I want to draw your attention to is these, because this was really specific to someone who said, well, I can't find out you hold the tops on. So what you've got are these top mounts which are composite. So the bottom part is rubber, or the middle part is rubber, and if you look here, you see how it's joined in. So the top part is quite hard plastic, and then the bottom bit has got a location tang there and 2 female tangs. Can you say female? Of course you can. Maybe they identify as something weird, I don't know. Anyway, you got these here, and well, the way that they go is, if I can just put my hand on here for you, the way that locates is, if you look at the top of the radiator, you see you've got these 2 tangs that correspond with the inserts in there, and they just, with a bit of wibbling, there we go. Okay, so what you've now got is, you should have one of those on that side and one on that side there. Now there's a couple of things at the bottom of your slam panel, where the radiator fits, and you will have to forgive the shadiness of my video, but guys know what it's like when you're one-handed with a camera. So if you look at these indentations here at the bottom of your slam panel, one there and one there, and then you go to the bottom of your radiator, what you should have is, you see, and that spigot is actually quite firmly fixed. I think that might be part of the rad. Same on the other side. And those 2 things up there that I've just told you about, they locate, if you look at the top of the slam panel, sorry it's out of focus a little bit, but there. So if you go around the other side, you'll have 2 corresponding M6 holes there, and the bolts screw through. Now I would have thought, or I did think initially, that there must be some sort of plastic insert missing out of there, but looking at the evidence inside here, there you can just see that little rust mark. So that is where the not the head, but the bottom of the bolt sits in, and that's what holds it in. That's all that holds the radiator in, basically. So once you've got your rad clipped into place, both in the bottom there and the bottom there, when you put those M6s in, you do have to make sure, obviously, that they're long enough to not only protrude through the bottom of the slam panel, but they've got sufficient material on them, because the top of the radiator actually finishes about there. I'd say a good inch short of that hole. So I'll measure the bolts. All I'm going to do is go through these holes with an M6 tap and just clean them out, make sure there's no rust in there. and replace them with stainless steel bolts. And that's it, guys. That's all that holds the radiator on. 2 bolts into the top of there, and the locators at the bottom. But as I said, basically, if you've got your rad off, I'm going to give this a bit of a clean and treatment here, and just make sure that it's not likely to. It is a bit of a weak design, that, I think. It could do with something. But then, you know, that is really all that does. It's only holding on the fan. That's all that does. It's not actually, the only bit that holds the radiator is that, and then 2 top ones. So it can't really go anywhere. So I think if your radiator tends to be flopping around, you know, you've got a problem somewhere, because I think it's these pegs at the bottom. They jump out because possibly the bolts you've got in the top were either too short or they've rotted. So there we go, guys. That's today's video. I guess SDI radiators are the same, pretty much. They look the same to me anyway. Yeah, obviously this is a TDI radiator, but I see no difference. So I do hope that helps somebody, because I thought I was missing something. Unless somebody knows different, if you think there's something that fits in the top of their little plastic insert, please let me know. But as I said, it is composite, it's rubber and plastic, so it should take the weight and the stress of the radiator. And hopefully, once I've got these things assembled and all the liquids in, then I've got all this lot to fit. The doors, the bumper, the back bumper, carpet, seats. Yeah, anyway, guys, that's about it for now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope that helps everyone. As I said, have a good evening, a good day, and yeah, catch you all later.